Skulduggery Pleasant, Book 1, Chapter 18th. On the roof at night. Laughter drifted in the distance, and Skulduggery looked towards it. They were standing on the roof of Ghastly's shop. Dublin City twinkled as it got ready for sleep. Stephanie couldn't see over the rooftops, over streets, down lanes, and she could see the cars passing, and here and there, people walking. When she turned back, he said, "So, Valkyrie Kane, eh? You don't think it sounds silly, do you?" "Oh, on the contrary, I think it sounds perfect, Valkyrie. Warrior women who guide the souls of the dead off the battlefield. A tad morbid, but then, who am I to judge? I am technically dead." She looked at him, and she took a moment before speaking again. "So was it bad, the torture?" "It wasn't fun. I think that after the first few hours, he knew I had no idea where the key was. After that, he was just torturing me purely for the sake of torturing me." "Did I thank you for coming to my rescue, by the way?" "Don't worry about it. Nonsense. Thank you." She smiled. "You're welcome. Your friend Tanith seemed a bit quiet on the trip home. I think she regrets using the Cleavers as a diversion." "I would have made the same decision. The Cleavers have a job to do. Let them do it." That's what she said. "Ah, but that is one thing to understand. That's quite another to accept. Until that happens, she's going to have one or two nightmares about it. But she's still a warrior. She'll make it. She's a good fighter. Indeed she is. If I started training now, would I be able to fight like her when I'm her age? I don't see why not. 60 years of good, solid training is enough to turn anyone into a tidy little scrapper." What? 60 years? How old is she?" "I'd say 70, if she's a day." Stephanie stared. "All right. It's time for you to tell me how exactly you people live so long. Diet and exercise. Skulduggery. Clean, healthy living. I swear, magic then." She looked at him. "Do all sorcerers live forever?" "Not forever. No. Not even close to forever. We do age. It's just we do it very slowly. Very slower, much slower than the rest of the humanity. The regular use of a certain amount of magic rejuvenates the body, keeps it young. So if I started learning now, I'd stay 12. It would take you a few years to reach the level where aging slows, but yes, after that, you would stay young for a lot longer than is strictly fair. I know it's impolite to discuss a lady's age, but China is the same age as I am, and even I have to admit she wears it better." He laughed, then stopped and peered at her. "Because I'm a skeleton." "Yeah, I get it. You weren't laughing. It wasn't funny." "Oh. So what are you going to do about her?" "China? There's nothing to do. She behaved exactly as I would have expected her to behave. The scorpion stings the fox because that is its nature. You can't deny your nature." "And what's your nature?" "Odd question." "China said some things about you in Serpine. She said all you want is revenge. And you're wondering how far I'll go to get to that revenge, is that it? You're wondering how much I'm willing to sacrifice in order to make him pay for killing me all those years ago?" "Yes." He paused a moment, then slipped his hands into his pockets and spoke. "What China didn't tell you, what I didn't tell you, is that I was not the only one caught in Serpine's trap." Stephanie didn't say anything. She waited for him to continue. "The trap was exquisite, a thing of beauty it really was. You see, Valkyrie, a successful trap needs one important quality. The same quality any trick or illusion needs, misdirection. When your attention is focused on one thing, something else is happening behind your back. I didn't even realize it was a trap until it sprung. Serpine knew me, you see. He knew how I'd react to certain stimuli. He knew, for instance, that if he murdered my wife and child right in front of me, I would never even suspect that the handle of the dagger I reached for was barbed with poison." Stephanie stared at him, but Skulduggery just looked over the city. "I didn't use magic, you see, and he knew I wouldn't. He knew I'd be too angry. He knew my rage would be fuel a physical attack, and that I'd need to kill him up close and personal. That moment, my hand closed around the dagger, I realized my mistake. Of course, by then it was too late, and I was helpless. It took him a few days to finally kill me. I died hating him, and when I came back, the hatred came back with me." He turned his head to her. "You asked me what's my nature? It's a dark and twisted thing." "I don't know what to say." "There's not much you can say to a story like that, is there?" "Not really." "Well, I went on the old dramatic story front every time." They stood in silence for a while. Despite the warmth of the night, it was chilly up here, and Stephanie didn't mind. "What happens now?" "The elders go to war. They find the castle empty. Serpent wouldn't stay there after this. So they're looking for him. And they'll also be tracking down his old allies to make sure they don't get the opportunity to organize. And what do? We get the Stephner before Serpine. Key, where is it?" "Gordon hid it. Clever man, your uncle. He didn't think anyone should have access to that weapon. But he hid the key in a place where, if we truly needed to find it, the situation got so dire that we truly needed the scepter, all it would take was a little detective work. So what is it?" "The piece of advice he gave me, in the lawyer's office. Do you remember what it was? He said a storm is coming. He also said that sometimes the key to safe harbor is hidden from us, and sometimes right before our eyes." "He was talking about the key?" Literally, it's right before our eyes. It was when those words were first spoken in the lawyer's office. Patrick has the key. Not Patrick. He gave it away. She frowned, remembering the reading of the will. Then remembering the lock in the cellar. Remembering Skulduggery's palm. She looked right at him. Not the brooch. The brooch. Gordon gave the key. The key to the most powerful weapon in existence to Fergus and Beryl. Why would he do that? Would you ever have thought to look for it with them? She let the notion sink in and then started to smile. They were given the most valuable possession Gordon had, and they didn't even realize it. It's actually quite amusing. It actually is. So now all we have to do is get it. Stephanie smiled again and nodded. Then her smile dropped and she shook her head vehemently. I'm not getting it. You're gonna have to. No, I don't. Just pay them a bit. Why can't you just break in? You work into the vault. That was different. Yes, it had alarms and found pals. This would be so much easier. There are times when extreme measures are not unnecessary. Extreme measures are very necessary here. Valkyrie, you can't ask me to visit them. We don't have a choice. But I never visit. They'll suspect something. Being a detective isn't all about torture and murder and monsters. It gets truly unpleasant. But I don't like them. The fate of the world depends on whether you can bring yourself to visit your relatives. She turned her head, looking at him out of the corner of her eye. It may depend. Valkyrie, fine, I'll go. Good girl. She crossed her arms and didn't respond. Are you sulking now? Yes. Yes, I am. Okay, then.